Uh-oh, folks. Would you look what we have here? Would you look at what we have here? We got Sabrina Ionescu, far left. Look at those back muscles. All right, Sabrina, do your thing. We got Erin Kane. Oh, doing her Stephanie White pose. Oh, wow. Okay. Erin Kane doing the Stephanie White. Nice. We got Breanna Stewart. Stewie, as they call her. And we got Sandy Brondello.
Caitlin Clark just had a secret meeting with the New York Liberty that could destroy Indiana's future. While the Fever struggled without their star player running the offense, Clark was planning something that would make every Indiana fan's worst nightmare come true. The meeting wasn't about endorsements or appearances. It was about 2028, when her rookie contract expires, and why Indiana's front office decisions might have just pushed away the biggest star in women's basketball. If you support Caitlin, then comment down below, Free Caitlin. Let's go.
This little scene that took place after the Fever game last night in New York between Sandy Brondello and Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty, and the agent. The agent. That is what makes this so interesting. That is the key. All right, everybody's concentrating on, by the way, Caitlin Clark looks unbelievably happy talking to these folks.
Picture this. Indiana takes the court at Barclays Center against New York, and within minutes, you can see something is terribly wrong. The Fever look lost. They're running plays that go nowhere. Players are standing around waiting for someone to create something out of nothing. Without Clark directing traffic, Indiana's offense becomes a collection of individual players trying to figure out what to do next.
We could have been more consistent, and it's just disappointing. I mean, that wasn't us. That's not how we play, and that's not our identity. But I just think, again, it's about us and stacking days. So, I mean, we see them again after All-Star, so we just got to go back to the drawing boards and just, make the adjustments and just be better.
The Liberty didn't just beat Indiana that night. They picked apart every single weakness in ways that made you wonder how this team ever won games without their superstar. New York shot 51.9% from three-point range, while Indiana managed just 25%. That's not just a bad shooting night. That's what happens when you don't have anyone who can create good looks for teammates or break down a defense. The final score read 98-77, but those numbers don't tell you about the panic in Indiana's huddles. They don't show you how quickly the Fever went from competitive to completely overwhelmed. This was their worst loss of the season, and it happened because they fell to 4-6 in games without Clark running the show.
Mitchell, she'll pull up. Here's a three. She's got it! And that's a record! Kelsey Mitchell with 9 threes in a game. It's never been done before.
Mitchell is so cracksy.
Don't dare, Kelsey Mitchell.
Smooth as butter. Silky.
Here's Mitchell. Mitchell collects. Mitchell. You bet! And the foul! Mitchell slashes home a three. Sock, step back, launches a three. It's good! Kelsey Mitchell has now hit 607 threes and counting. The most ever for an Indiana Fever player.
Kelsey Mitchell did everything she could to keep Indiana alive. She broke the franchise record for career three-pointers with her 607th, hitting shots and creating plays that reminded everyone why she deserves all-star recognition. Mitchell finished with 16 points, but you could see the frustration building as she tried to carry an offensive load that was never meant for one person.
Hey, Kel, just wanted to say congratulations. As always, I'm super proud of you. And yet another record broken. Of course, this is just the beginning. Keep it going. Records are meant to be broken, but if there's anybody that would break it, I'm glad that it's you. So congratulations. I love you. I'm super proud of you. And let's go, Fever. Get that dub.
Sophie Cunningham started in place of Lexi Hull and brought that same energy we love watching. She scored 12 points and fought through every possession like her career depended on it. Cunningham never backed down from contact, never stopped moving, never gave up on plays that other players would have quit on.
So talented, had that Mamba mentality at Oregon and brought it here to the WNBA as Sophie Cunningham gets the birdie on Natasha Cloud and hits the three.
But here's the problem that even their heroic efforts couldn't hide. Aaliyah Boston, who usually dominates inside, managed just 7 points on 1 for 8 shooting. The Liberty collapsed on her drives and dared her to pass out, knowing there wasn't anyone like Clark to punish them for that strategy. Boston's struggles showed how much this team depends on Clark's ability to make everyone around her better. Aari McDonald filled in at point guard, but the lineup change couldn't provide the spark Indiana needed. The Liberty understood exactly what they were facing. They knew Indiana had no real identity without Clark orchestrating everything from the backcourt. This wasn't just a loss. This was a complete breakdown that exposed why Clark might be questioning whether Indiana can actually build a championship team around her. The Fever looked like a completely different franchise without their superstar, and not in any way that gives you confidence about their future.
Yeah, I thought it started with us just being really soft. They didn't feel us. They're an outstanding offensive team. They're obviously an outstanding defensive team too. And we didn't disrupt at all. They didn't feel us. There was no resistance. We weren't in passing lanes. We let them pass the ball and move wherever they wanted to. So it's outside of just execution of schemes, it's having a little bit more fight and resistance on the defensive end.
Here's where Indiana's problems go from bad to absolutely catastrophic, and it all centers on how they handled Clark's injury. When your franchise player gets hurt, the front office response tells you everything about an organization's priorities and competence. The Fever's approach to Clark's injury wasn't just poor. It was so misguided that it raised serious questions about their ability to protect their biggest asset.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I hope Indiana Fever fans are taking note, writing things down, following a certain pattern, and this time aren't getting fooled. The Indiana Fever ruled Caitlin Clark out for tonight's game. No surprise to anybody. I saw it, you saw it, your neighbor saw it, Stevie Wonder saw that.
The medical staff decisions, the communication breakdowns, the timeline confusion, every aspect of the injury management looked amateur hour. You had fans, analysts, and even other teams watching Indiana fumble the most basic aspects of injury management for the most important player in women's basketball.
Another leg injury. She has a quad, we rush her back, she injures her quad. We rush her back, she injures her groin, we rush her back, we injure her quad. Nice, good job. No way Caitlin Clark was going to play tonight. But the Indiana Fever, they decided to lie again about Caitlin Clark's status. Again, to milk the fans dry for as much as they possibly can. Again.
Stephanie White's public statements about Clark's condition made things worse instead of better. In a pregame interview, White said the team was taking Clark's injury one day at a time. That's the same phrase she used when Clark was out for 2.5 weeks earlier in the season. This lack of clarity fueled speculation about the team's handling of the situation and created doubt about White's transparency regarding the severity of Clark's condition. The timing couldn't have been worse either. Clark's injury status became a major talking point right before the All-Star game, when the league needed maximum visibility from its biggest star. Instead of clear communication about recovery timelines, Indiana provided vague updates that left everyone guessing. This isn't how you handle a generational talent who brings millions of viewers to your games.
The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
But the injury mismanagement was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to a much deeper philosophical problem. Clark thrives in a fast-paced, high-tempo system where she can push the ball and create chaos for opposing defenses. Her greatest strength is her ability to get out in transition, create opportunities before defenses can set up, and use her basketball IQ to find teammates in perfect positions.
If Stephanie White believes that this team is better with Aari McDonald in, blah, 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 if she shares the same views as Carolyn Peck, you fire her on the spot. I don't care if she is an Indiana Fever alum. You fire her on the spot. And anybody else in the organization that shares that same belief set. I mean, these Stephanie White truthers, no surprise, she checks boxes, and they're the old WNBA fandom that thinks Stephanie White's getting a raw deal right now. It's so obvious she don't know what she's doing. She don't know what she's doing with this kind of talent.
The coaching staff keeps trying to force her into a slow, methodical system that kills everything that makes her special. They want her to walk the ball up the court, run through half-court sets, and play at a pace that neutralizes her biggest advantages. You're taking a player who can create offense out of nothing and asking her to wait for plays to develop slowly. It's like buying a Ferrari and then driving it exclusively in school zones. You're wasting the entire point of what makes it valuable. Clark's vision, her passing ability, her basketball IQ, all of these skills get maximized when she can play fast and create opportunities in transition. When you slow her down, you're not just limiting her scoring. You're limiting her impact on every single possession. This clash in styles has created a sense of frustration that goes beyond just basketball strategy. Clark can see what she's capable of when she's allowed to play her natural game. She can also see how much the team struggles when they force her into a system that doesn't fit her strengths. These decisions created a perfect storm of frustration that made Clark start looking at other options for her future. The front office didn't just fail to support their star, they actively made decisions that pushed her toward the exit door. Every mishandled injury update, every forced slowdown in pace, every decision that seemed to work against Clark's strengths added up to one conclusion: maybe Indiana isn't the right place for her long-term success.
We got Sabrina, we got the agent, we got Stewie, we got Caitlin Clark looking like I ain't seen her this happy all year. Right here. I ain't seen her. And look at Sandy. Sandy's grinning with her hand on Caitlin's shoulder. I mean,
now we get to the part that has Indiana fans losing sleep and New York fans dreaming about more championship banners. A photo went viral on social media that showed something nobody expected to see. Caitlin Clark, her agent Erin Kane, and New York Liberty representatives standing together in what looked like a very serious conversation.
And I saw some people say, well, maybe they're talking All-Star game. Why is her agent there? That is the key. All right, that's the key. Her agent's involved? Some representative is involved? That's what you... they're talking strategy. How many strategy conversations have agents involved in them? Seriously.
This wasn't some casual conversation at a league event. This was a deliberate, strategic discussion about Clark's future beyond her rookie contract. The photo showed Clark with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello, along with All-Stars Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. But here's what made this meeting different from any normal post-game interaction. Her agent was there. When your agent shows up to a meeting with another team's coach and star players, that's not about taking photos or exchanging pleasantries. That's business. Kane's presence suggests the discussion went beyond casual conversation and moved into strategic planning territory. You don't bring your agent to meetings unless you're talking about your future in concrete terms.
Now, Caitlin Clark, just magically finding her way in New York one day. She doesn't like how things are going. The Fever continued to just act foolish. They don't realize what they have. I'm telling you, New York will realize what they got. New York will realize what they got with Caitlin Clark. And I know Erin Kane probably understands that too. She might not be a good agent, but sometimes common sense is that blatant. Where it doesn't matter how bad your agent is. Oh, well, you're in New York, Nike.
The timing of this meeting tells you everything about Clark's mindset. It happened right after Indiana's latest organizational misstep and coaching clash. Clark watched her team fall apart without her, saw how the front office handled her injury situation, and then immediately sat down with representatives from the most competent organization in women's basketball. New York represents everything Indiana isn't when it comes to building around elite talent. The Liberty have a competent front office that actually knows how to construct rosters. They have Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, two All-Stars who understand what it takes to win at the highest level. They have a supporting cast that includes players like Marine Johannes and former MVP Jonquel Jones, who was out with injury but expected to return after the All-Star break. Sandy Brondello has already expressed admiration for Clark, showing the kind of coaching support that Clark hasn't always felt in Indiana. The Liberty's playing style fits Clark's strengths perfectly. They push pace, They create chaos, and they let their best players operate in systems that maximize their abilities.
That's cool. A meet and greet at the edge. Oh yeah, a lot of opportunities in New York, folks. A lot of opportunities in New York. The fact her agent's back there, I'm not sure if she represents Breanna Stewart as well, or Sabrina Ionescu as well. I don't think so. Or Sandy, I don't think so. It's just a nice meet and greet, folks. This is just an innocent lunch, right? Just an innocent, I'm just out having lunch with my girls. Just hanging out, having fun. We're not talking about me coming to New York, no.
The Liberty have the cap space, the winning culture, and most importantly, the organizational competence to build around a generational talent like Clark. Clark's WNBA rookie contract follows standard structure, with the Indiana Fever holding control through 2026. But 2028 marks the end of her rookie deal, when she gains the freedom to choose an organization that actually deserves her talents. This meeting wasn't about if Clark will consider other options. It was about laying the groundwork for when she can actually make the move. Indiana's window to fix their relationship with Clark is closing fast, and this meeting proves she's already thinking about life after the Fever. The writing on the wall isn't just visible anymore, it's screaming at Indiana's front office, and they're still not listening. Every decision Indiana makes seems designed to push Clark toward that 2028 exit door, while New York builds the perfect foundation for her arrival. The contrast between these two organizations isn't just about winning and losing, it's about competence versus chaos.
Here's a better lane. How about a Larry Bird or a Bill Laimbeer as the Indiana Fever president and somebody like Mark Jackson as the coach? All right? Or Larry Bird is president of the Fever, Bill Laimbeer is the coach. I believe the Indiana Fever need a National Basketball Association coach handling this brand. All right? Because it's clear the organization's in way over their head. You saw it from Christine Brennan. They weren't expecting this. She's the biggest sports star in basketball.
New York's roster construction tells the story of a franchise that actually understands how to build around elite talent. The Liberty have Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, two all-stars who create the perfect complement to Clark's skills. They run a fast-paced, high-scoring offense that emphasizes ball movement and three-point shooting. This system would amplify everything Clark does best instead of fighting against her natural abilities. Meanwhile, Indiana continues making moves that suggest they either don't understand what they have or don't know how to maximize it. The team's struggles in games without Clark show they haven't built proper support systems around their star. The psychological impact of playing in a system that fights against your strengths versus one that amplifies them cannot be understated for a competitor like Clark. She's already missed 10 games this season due to various injuries, and the team's handling of her health concerns has created additional frustration. Coach Stephanie White's vague statements about Clark's injury status have only added to the confusion.
Whatever Clark wants, Clark will get when it comes to New York. Maybe not in Indiana, with Kelly and Amber and Stephanie, but in New York, I guarantee you if they were to ask Sandy Brondello that question, the answers might have been different. They would have championed Caitlin Clark without feeling the need to throw everybody else's name in the mix.
The path forward shows two drastically different timelines. One where Clark's prime gets wasted in Indiana's dysfunction, and another where she becomes the centerpiece of a dynasty in New York. The Liberty's organizational competence, winning culture, and playing style that maximizes Clark's strengths make them the obvious choice for her future success.
The WNBA kept playing with fire. Commissioner's worst nightmare is here. Fever's worst nightmare is here. All those people traveling to Indiana. Caitlin is likely out for the All-Star game. Flagship weekend destroyed at NBA. W needs new leadership.
The secret meeting between Clark and New York isn't just speculation anymore. It's a warning shot that Indiana might lose the best player in women's basketball because of their own incompetence. Erin Kane's presence at that meet with Sandy Brondello, Breanna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu proves this conversation went way beyond casual interaction. If you're a Clark fan, this should make you both excited about her future possibilities and terrified that Indiana will waste the rest of her prime years. What do you think? Should Clark stick with Indiana and hope they figure it out? Or is it time for her to find an organization that actually knows how to win? If you support Caitlin, then comment down below, Free Caitlin. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.